boy. Sorry, we had a little technical difficulties there for a second. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't even have the words. No words. There's a lot of words out there. I don't have them. Do not possess them. The Knicks win 287 to 121. Yeah. So they score 141 points against the worst defense in the league. This is one of, it's funny. There's some games that come on and I come on here and I'm like, what am I going to talk about? I could try to focus on this or that. It's like, there's now 18 things that I want to focus on. And I don't know which one to start with. You know what I'm going to start with? The Alec Burks hitting 8,000 threes, Taj Gibson hitting a three, bench blowing up, Frank doing Frank things, Quickley hitting, getting 50 points on 5 shots. And you know what the thing is that I woke up my wife with? You know what it is? Chris Persianen on MSG Network. Shout out to my boy. So this was obviously a big win. And, Michael Aaron in the super chat already. Thank you. I have to read this in full. Maybe it's because I'm old, sappy, and a father now. I'm all three of those things, Michael. Don't feel bad. But the closeness and camaraderie of this team makes me feel so happy. Also, Taj's screens give me life. I completely agree. I think, look, it's 16 and 17 now, right? Did I get that right? 16 and 17, or was it 15 and 16? Something. They're a game under 500. I have said it a lot this year, and it's why when people come at me with like clearly obvious things about like, why is Tibbs playing Alfred Payton when clearly it doesn't make any sense because we just saw this tonight, and like the rotations are funky and he's not playing the kids enough. I just always go back to the spirit of this team and how we've watched team after team after team after team in this city come out there. And it's like just everybody, it's like they're going to work and they're doing their job and there's no pizzazz and there's no that stuff that we see when we play every other team every other year. And whatever he's doing, and listen, you can criticize Tibbs all you want. It's legit. He's not perfect, but he's doing something that has this team playing together, that has this team pulling for each other. They're all in it together. It's beautiful to see. They're trying to play the right way, even when they screw up, right? When you get the turnovers and you get, maybe a botched rotation or something, it's in the spirit of making the right play. Even Julius Randle didn't have one of his better games tonight. He had 21 points and he had 4 turnovers or 5 turnovers to only 5 assists. Not his best game. But even when he's turning the ball over, he's trying to make the right play. And to see, and I'm going to go here first. To see Frank Ntilikina, and I don't know if you guys have noticed Frank Ntilikina on the bench since he got out of quarantine in Miami. And by the way, how did Frank Ntilikina spend a week in quarantine in Miami in a posh hotel room and he didn't get another groin injury? It's beyond me. But we don't have to talk about that. If you've seen him on the bench since he's been back, he's into it. He's focused. He's clapping. He's cheering. He's like with the whole thing. Never gave in. Never gave up. And he got his chance tonight. And we've been, every time he came on the Zoom last week or a couple days ago, whatever it was, and he's like, I'm just waiting for my turn. Tibbs has been asked about Frank, and Tibbs is like, when he gets his time, he'll be ready. And I thought it was lip service. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was all lip service. I didn't think he was ever going to play another healthy minute for the Knicks again. And he came in, and it's like, boom. And what is that a testament to? I think it's a testament to Frank. I think it's a testament to Tibbs. I think it's a testament to the whole organization, how they've started to turn around this year. And boy, I mean, I know what you all want me to talk about, which is already like, well, what now, right? Because it's not about enjoying this win. It's about what's next. It's about what do we do now that we've seen Frank go in there, and I don't know what his stat line is. I see some very nice comments in the chat. Quick smoke, okay. Quickley, Quicklina. That's an interesting one. We'll have to work on the nicknames. But he came in and what were his numbers? He scored 7 points. Right? So 7 points, 3 steals. 3 steals. That's a Frankie number. 2 assists. I mean, but you saw the trickle down effect. It was obvious. We got Greg Film stuff with the super chat comment. We all love Quickley, but he's not a point guard and he's best suited at the 2. We need his offense, but he tends to have tunnel vision and he kind of refuses to lead fast breaks and looks guys off on the half court. I think Quickley is what is not the traditional definition of a point guard. I think Immanuel Quickley is what we see from most of the league right now, which is a guard who can handle the ball and can initiate the offense, and he could do some stuff. But he's not in that traditional, like, I'm going to distribute. That's like, here's the thing. What is a point guard, right? What is the point guard in 2021? And what has a point guard been, honestly, for the last 20 years? Really, what you're talking about when you're talking about point guard, you're talking about Frank Ntilikina, the guy who just wants to come in and he wants to distribute and he wants to facilitate and all that stuff, which is why, if you're really talking about why Frank Ntilikina has had the career he's had, it's because he's not more of a new age point guard. He's not the guy that got picked after him, Donovan Mitchell. Quickley is more of that new age guy. Does it mean he can't run an offense? No, but I agree with you, and I think the point that you're trying to make is that Quickley functions better when there's somebody alongside of him who can worry about the facilitation, but, and here's the key, is also an off-ball threat and doesn't really want the ball and doesn't really want to initiate the offense possession after possession, which is why I think, in theory, Quickley and Frank makes a lot more sense than Quickley and Rose. We got Kane Marco with a comment in the super chat. Removing Elf and installing Frank put everyone in their proper positions, and it showed what we are capable of. Rose starting and Quick leading the bench. I completely agree with that. It felt right. Let's actually talk from the top down. So the starting lineup, Rose is in there instead of Elfrid Payton. No one's really going to guard Rose on the 3-point line or pay much attention to him. But the fact is they can't just ignore him, which teams are doing for Payton. And the other thing, I don't think Payton has taken maybe 4 or 5 long twos this year. That's not necessarily an efficient shot for Derrick Rose, but it's a shot teams have to fear. And it's a shot teams have to respect. And I think the fact that he could even do that opens up the spacing that much more. He puts more as much pressure on the rim as Payton, if not more. He's a better distributor than Payton. When he gets into the paint, here's the thing with Derrick Rose. He's a diminished player from what he was. He's far from a perfect player. But he's able to toe this line, which is that when he goes into the paint, he's able to still wear both hats, right? He can get his own basket or try to get his own basket, which he's moderately successful at. He's not great finishing at the rim right now, but he doesn't go into the paint on these drives with a predetermined mindset of, I'm going to shoot this ball, which is what we've kind of gotten accustomed to from Elfrid Payton. Derrick Rose, when he goes in there, he has the ability to still make that decision all the way up until the time he gets to the basket, which is why if you look at drives per 36 minutes in the NBA this year, I haven't checked them in the last week, but Derrick Rose was right near the top, drives a ton, and his assist percentage on those drives is pretty good. Not great. It's not in like the top 25th or 30th percentile in the league, but it's well above average. And Payton didn't do that. Payton's assist percentage on drives was in like the bottom third of the league. So that right there, I think, is a big difference between the two of them, in addition to the shooting. The defensive drop-off I don't think is that big of a deal. Jonas Plout asks, is this the end of Rivers? I think Rivers is just waiting to get a trade. And they'll find a trade for Rivers. He's a good guy. He went up there in front of the mic the other day and he was professional about it. But yeah, I think the fact that Frank played tonight over Austin, writing's probably on the wall. Where we got Latrell Sprewell is the American Dream. Great name. Where is this IQ RJ every night, Macri? I don't know. That's actually a good place to turn. RJ Barrett. So RJ Barrett had what I would consider, I don't think this is crazy, I think this is one of his better games that he's played. And people got mad at me because I came on here last week or whenever it was, the Minnesota game, when he had 20 points and 10 rebounds on, I think, 19 shots, 20 shots, whatever. And I came on here and I was like, I didn't think he had a good game because I thought he took a lot of shots that were not great shots and he was forcing it. And tonight he had 12 points on 8 shots. And he also had 3 assists, but they were nice assists. And he made a couple of other good passes. This is the version of RJ Barrett that I want to see. And I think this is the version of RJ Barrett that is going to be the most successful version of what he can be, at least at this point in his career. I understand we're asking way more of this kid than we have any right to. He is 20 years old. He's younger than Quickley. He's 2 years younger than Obi Toppin. Alan Berman with comment, no Payton equals spacing to start the game. Yeah. It helped playing the Kings. That's the one thing that I want to say about tonight is like they had obviously they had 140 points. They ended up with 25 assists, which is not the pace. At halftime they were on a 30 assist pace. Only ended up with 25. That's because Alec Burks was going crazy in the fourth quarter to a certain extent. But it's tough to judge, right? What's the meaning of this? Because the Kings, I should probably check my phone because I feel like I'm going to get a text any second that says that Luke Walton has been fired. I don't obviously know anything, but it was that kind of a performance from the Kings, and it's been that kind of a performance for a while. So I don't know how real this is. But the effort behind what they were trying to do with starting 5 was clearly there. And the effort that RJ was putting in, trying to make the right play, was clearly there. I actually thought Randall didn't have one of his best games. I thought some of the turnovers were a little sloppy, even though, like I said, the intentionality was correct. But he's an all-star in the fact that he had like a really good game. And I could sit here and be like, yeah, this wasn't one of Randall's best games. And he's 21, 14, 4 assists. It's like that. That's why Julius Randle's an all-star. Reggie Bullock, 4 for 8, including 2 of 6 from 3. A nice night. His threes were big, I thought. I thought Noel played a really good game. All right. What should we talk about first? Should we talk about Alec Burks? Should we talk about Emmanuel Quickley? We talked about Frank. I got to talk about Quickley. So Quickley ended up somehow with 10 shots. How did he end up with 10 shots? He took my nice little stat that I had, and he completely pissed all over it. If anybody didn't see on Twitter, when he had 7 shots, he had 25 points on 7 shots at one point, and he was one of, at the time, only 3 Knicks to do that, but he took 3 more shots, so that stat goes by the wayside. Breen mentioned it a few times. He's coming off of 2 horrendous games, and he's been a bit of a slump for a while, and he doesn't let it get to him. And that's a thing that, like, if you have a player on your team that is able to bust out of a slump like this, let alone a rookie on your team that's able to bust out of a slump like this, ooh boy. And man, it's just, what's nice about it is we know that whatever Quickley becomes, there's a baseline. And the baseline is his shooting. And specifically his ability to hit those shots from the outside, hit deep threes, and draw fouls on those threes. The distribution, the penetration, and kicking out and making the right play and maybe getting his lob game going on, like, We'll see if that stuff comes. I think it will, because he's a point guard at heart, and he says he's a point guard at heart. But like, I'm happy with like the guarantee. I can't wait. I was texting someone before. I was saying, if he starts drawing fouls on the drives, like he draws fouls behind the arc, it's game over. It's game over, because at that point, he becomes one of the best young players in the NBA. And I don't think that's an overstatement, because at that point, you could put the ball in his hands and he could be, if not a primary initiator on a team, he could be something pretty close to it. If he gets the knack of drawing fouls in the paint, even if he doesn't become a great finisher, but like, he does need to attempt more finishes around the basket. That's the one thing I still want to see from Quickley that we haven't seen enough of, is a little bit more finishes around the rim. He becomes Trae Young. Yeah, pretty much, except with better defense. I know he's not huge, but I think Quickley's going to be a better defending guard than Trae Young. And I think guys like playing with Quickley more than they like playing with Trae Young. I don't think people want to play with Trae Young. That's just me. But Quickley's a guy, like, I think here's the thing about Quickley. When he takes those threes, he never takes a three where you're like, oh, that was a bad shot. That was a forced shot. That was too quick. No pun intended. I think Quickley's this is insane to say. I can't say he has a higher ceiling than Trae Young, because Trae Young might lead the league in scoring someday. But I think Quickley, yeah, sure, he could be in that mold. Why not? All right, let's hit on Alec Burks. Alec Burks ended up with 24 points on 12 shots. He was 5 of 8 from 3. Absolute heat check fourth quarter. I mean, I don't know about anybody else. I was sweating a little bit in that fourth quarter, because what did it get down to? Did it get down to 5 at one point? 5 points? 4 points? 5 points? Something like that. And I was like, when did this happen? And it happened. And then Burks, man, yeah, that was all Alec Burks. Yeah, it got down to 5. There you go. Thank you, everybody who's saying. So, and they needed this win. Like, if they ever, this is where you feel like a season can turn on a game, because at this point, they got 2 games left against Detroit. They got a game against San Antonio, and they got a game against Indiana before the All-Star break. And I think this team needs the All-Star break. They've played a ton of back-to-backs. They've played. I was looking a couple weeks ago about back-to-backs, and the Knicks had played, I think, 4. Maybe they played 4 or 5. And like, there had been other teams in the NBA that had played like 1 back-to-back. So this Knicks schedule is easing up, but I think it has taken a toll on them. And I think they need the All-Star break, and I think it was important. It is important still. We're not there yet. Listen, this is the Knicks. They still go through slumps. They're capable of losing any game against anybody. But they got a real shot here to go into this All-Star break either a game under 500, or I don't even know how to say this. I can't even get the words out. There's a legitimate chance that they could go into the All-Star break over 500. That's like, the fact that we could sit here and say that that's a possibility. Peter B, we could be 4th in the East, man. The way the Celtics are going, and the way like some of these other teams are going, shit. So I'm going to be very curious to see how they come out on Saturday night, which is their next game against Indiana, and it's a home game. And like, I feel like the couple of times when the Knicks have come out and it's like, you know, let's see if we're there yet, they show us they're not there yet. Let's see how they do against Indiana at home. They could beat that team. That team's not better than them. And then Detroit on the road, San Antonio on the road, and then Detroit back at home. So, yeah, Tibbs right now on the post game. I thank you for conveying that, Mr. Sandman. I thought Frank's defense was fantastic. Oh, Frank. What are we going to do with you, man? I want you to stay here. I want you to stay here in New York. I want you to be here for a long time. I want you to be the first Knicks since Charlie Ward to sign your second contract with the team. Or a rookie extension, I should say, because other players have signed a second contract. I just don't know what they're going to do. I wish I knew. I wish I knew what they were going to do. If there were ever a situation where you could milk an injury, it's Elf right now with a hamstring. Hamstring is like, you don't want to screw around with a hamstring. Hamstrings are bad. Once you break a hamstring, that's it. You can't fix it. It's gone. Off into the ether. So they could milk this. And, like, I would love nothing more for them to come out before the weekend and be like, you know what? We're so close to the All-Star break. We're going to shut down Elfrid Payton until then. Because why not? Like, really, what do you have to lose by doing that? You have Derrick Rose ready to slot right into the starting lineup. I don't think anybody, and a few people are saying, I've been saying throughout the chat, like, cut Elf. They're not going to cut Elf. Look, if they do, I want everybody in here who's saying cut Elf to come back in here and, like, yell at me and call me all kinds of names. I don't think they're going to cut Elfrid Payton. Should they cut Elfrid Payton? No. Because I could talk myself into some team out there giving up something for him. I've been known to talk myself into some silly shit. But no, I don't think they're going to cut him because, one, there's no reason to cut him because they're not facing any kind of a roster crunch right now. But two, it's like, and I've said this a lot, he's useful in the right situation. He's useful on the right team. He does one thing really, really well. Like, this is going to sound nuts, but, like, he is able to get to the rim as well as, like, almost any point guard in basketball that doesn't have extraordinary athleticism and speed. His handles breaking down guys and getting to the rim is like, yeah, I saw, let me give credit where credit is due. Harris and Rich, a report came out today that the Clippers want a veteran point guard. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Elfrid Payton is the answer for them, but, like, why wouldn't Elfrid Payton want to go play in LA for a championship? He should. Will he help them? I don't know, but I think he could help somebody. He's not a bad defender when he's trying hard. So I'm celebrating tonight. This feels like a celebration. Tomorrow's Friday. This is fantastic. So let's see what they do with Elf. But, like, seriously, if they sit Elf out for a somewhat extended period of time, start Rose, you're not losing anything. Because if nothing else, they now have an indication that, like, Emmanuel Quickley plus Frank Ntilikina off the bench works. So, I don't know. I think maybe this is a night that we'll look back on. We'll see. But it could be a night we look back on and say that's the night the Knicks figured out something. And to everybody's credit, who's been coming into every one of these and yelling at me through the chat about why would you defend Tom Thibodeau for playing Elfrid Payton? If they actually do incorporate Frank into the rotation and, like, send Elf elsewhere or just bench him or whatever, and, like, they play better as a result of that, Thibodeau deserves every ounce of blame for, and obviously I'm his biggest defender, and I will say this, he deserves every ounce of blame for sticking with Payton for so long. Although they did make the Rose trade. So the Rose trade kind of changes things. So I'm not going to allow that much blame for Tibbs. I'll allow some blame for Tibbs. And the Rose trade was, like, somewhat recent, so it's not like he was going to bench him right away. So maybe I take that back. But no, look, in fairness, even without Rose, there was, you didn't need to start Payton. But he has, and look, it's got them to this point. If nothing else, it has gotten to the point where they have this record. It's better than anybody thought. It's been a fun season. All right. I'm going to take some questions in the chat. So if you got anything you're wondering, let me know, because I can't believe it. Did Walton really just get fired? No. Okay. Someone put it in the chat that Walden just got fired. Don't screw with me like that. All right. What are some Frankie Quills? I like that name. Yo, Macri, keep up the great work, brother. Love the pod, newsletters, and post games. You're doing great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thoughts on Haliburton? Man, he's good. He's really good. He's going to help. He's not going to be the first. He's not going to be like a guy that turns around a franchise, obviously. But he's going to help teams win for a long time. I don't know if is he going to have. I think the ceiling for Haliburton, man. I almost said I think his ceiling is a Draymond Green level impact on a team. But that would mean that he would be obviously not that level of defender. Draymond Green's the best defender of this century. But just in terms of being, if you put Tyrese Haliburton alongside the right two guys, I'm wondering what the ceiling of that team would be. If he's the third best guy, but the first two guys are like out of this world good. Dirty Dancer just said he's just George Hill to me. Maybe. He might just be George Hill. I think that's the floor, though. Somebody else mentions Robert Horry. Yeah, I think Robert Horry is probably – so let's do that. Let's say that Draymond Green is his, 99th percentile outcome. Let's say that Robert Horry, in terms of an impact, is probably his 65th or 70th percentile outcome. And let's say that I forget who the other person that was brought up is his George Hill. I would say George Hill right now is probably his 35th percentile outcome or 40th percentile outcome, something like that. I think he's gonna be better than George Hill. He's really good though. Hold on, we had something else in the super chat. Mensa Smith, if it becomes clear that Payton holds us back, how important is it that we make a trade at the deadline? Lonzo and IQ sounds like heaven. Whew, boy. See, this is where games like this make you wonder, if you're the Knicks. If you're the Knicks, how much do you need Lonzo Ball this season? But then again, it's not about this season. That's what makes it complicated, right? You're paying the price to get Lonzo Ball this season, right? Because New Orleans is not going to give him away for free. I guarantee you they're going to ask for a first-round draft pick. So baked into the price is what he could do for you this season. Except you don't really need him this season. You want him because you think Lonzo Ball is part of your answer for the next 5 years. Is he? I don't know. He might be. But what is it worth to just wait until the offseason and try to what is the overpay going to look like if you're just trying to overpay him in restricted free agency? And how different is that overpay going to be from if you traded for him and then somebody else tries to overpay him? So you could trade for him and still find yourself in the same shitty situation of having to overpay for him. And you just gave up, I don't know what it's going to take to get him, the 2023 Dallas pick, at the Pistons pick this year. At the very least, they're going to want the Pistons pick this year. I find the Lonzo Ball situation fascinating. I don't know what the right answer is, but I mean, I hope they're kicking the tires. So that's interesting. House Flan, that's a fun name. Haliburton could be Mike Conley ? I think Mike Conley is a little better than Haliburton because I think Mike Conley had some real lead guard skills, and I don't think Haliburton's a lead guard. I think he's a secondary guy. Kyle Lowry in terms of impact, maybe, but that's Kyle Lowry's a Hall of Famer. I can't go Kyle Lowry right now. And Tyrese Haliburton, I got to see more. Kyle Lowry's a bit much for me. Okay, what else we got? What could we get for Rivers? A top 50 protected second-round pick. I think if they move Rivers, they're going to move Rivers to do Rivers a favor. And it's not going to be they're not going to get any kind of asset back. I do think they could get a middling second-round pick for Payton, though. We'll see. Manny Ortiz. Theo Pinson might be the worst player I've seen in a while, but I love him. I love him too. Jeremy Chase. When is De'Aaron Fox demanding a trade? Tomorrow, I hope. That would be great. That would be absolutely lovely. I wish he would. Man, whew, what I wouldn't give up. Y'all are gonna hate me when I tell you what I would give up for De'Aaron Fox because I love that dude. What is Knox's value right now? Question from Michael Bernholtz. And then also, Will Grimotes? I hope I got that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. What would it take to get Terrence Ross? What's Knox's value right now? I don't think you could get a first-round pick for him. I think it's something under a first-round pick. I think Knox right now would be like the skid greaser on a Lonzo Ball deal, meaning like I think, again, I'm not saying they should do this or they will do this, but like something centered around a future first, like maybe the Dallas 2023 pick and Knox maybe get you Lonzo would be my guess. Maybe that's probably actually an overpay for Lonzo, but whatever. What would it take to get Terrence Ross? I don't know what Orlando's priorities are right now. And I'm going to get to this question in a bit from your boy Benz. Your boy Benz. That's a great name. I think the Magic will ask for a first-round pick for Terrence Ross, and I bet I don't know how the money would work out. I don't know who the team is, but I bet some team out there would give up a first-round pick for Terrence Ross. Like a team like the Clippers did for us last year for Marcus Morris. Is Terrence Ross going to have a Marcus Morris level impact on a team trying to get a championship this year? I think it can come close. So, yeah, I think they could probably get a first. Maybe not this year. Maybe soon. Okay, your boy Benz. Should we look at finding a player to just do what we do better, or a superstar that creates so much gravity that we get better because of him? I think if they could get a superstar, they should get a superstar, but I don't think they could get a superstar right now. Man, every time this team plays well, in the back of my head, I'm like, what's it going to take to get Bradley Beal if they put him on the market? And why would that be stupid? And I've come on here many times and written like it's not the right time for Bradley Beal. And okay, so people are. Oh, I think we have a question about like, can we go get Mike Conley or Kyle Lowry? Utah's not going to trade Mike Conley, so if you want Mike Conley, you're going to have to sign him in free agency. Yeah, I'd love if the Knicks had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Good comment, Zeke. That'd be really nice. Matthew Bermhold says Beal is a terrible defender. He's not a terrible defender. I think he tries. I think it's tough to judge somebody's defense on a team that's like completely garbage. And they're like nobody else is playing defense, so how could you expect him to play defense? If Julius Randle can turn around his defense, anybody can. And Bradley Beal has defended decently in the past. Kyle Lowry. So Kyle Lowry's going to be a free agent. The Raptors, as I sit here right now, oh man, I feel bad. I really don't want to read this. I'm not going to say who. But someone who covers the Kings just messaged me and said Kings Twitter is in pure chaos. You hate to see it. Anyway, Kyle Lowry. As we sit here right now, Kyle Lowry is on the Toronto Raptors, who are, wait for it, 16-17. They have the exact same record as the New York Knicks. I don't think they're going to trade Lowry unless they're like going to blow it up this season. I don't think they're going to blow it up this season. Would I sign Kyle Lowry in the offseason? In a New York minute. I love the idea of Kyle Lowry in the offseason. I'd give that dude 2 years and, ooh boy. Like giving Kyle Lowry 2 years, $40 million? Probably going to take more than that to get him. I'd give it to him. I'd give him 2 years, $40 million. Why not? Why the hell not? Yeah, if I could pick one, I don't think you're getting Kyle Lowry for 2 years, $30 million. I think Kyle Lowry is going to be like, I'll take 1 year, $30 million. But somebody saying 50 million, I think my guess would be Lowry would be like, yeah, I'll take 50 over 2 years. But I do. Here's the thing. I think you get Kyle Lowry for 2 years. I think you could absolutely get Kyle Lowry for 2 years. And if you're the Knicks, as long as you think Kyle Lowry can help you for 2 years, I don't know how insane that is, because we always go back to the same shit. What are they spending their money on? What are they spending their money on? Because presumably, if they sign Kyle Lowry to that contract this offseason, they're doing it because Kawhi Leonard isn't coming, and Victor Oladipo wants something crazy. And who else is really available that we want? They're concerned about Spencer Dinwiddie's injury. Like, basically, they will have decided, all right, there's nothing else out there for us to spend our money on. So really, when you're talking about giving Kyle Lowry the bag for 2 years, you're not talking about giving him the bag for 2 years. You're talking about giving him the bag for 1 year, because the second year is the only year that really matters, because the opportunity cost of the first year is not really anything special. So then you fast forward to 2022 and you look at the free agent class in 2022, and it's like there's nothing really going on there. Steph Curry ain't leaving Golden State. James Harden is not, like, whatever. I don't want to sign James Harden in 2022. But the point is, as long as you think that you could move an expiring Kyle Lowry in a pinch, if you needed to, in a deal for a superstar who's demanding a trade, like, you do that. And by the way, you don't even have to move him. You could move somebody else. Like, it's only $25 million if you do 2 for 50. And maybe you do declining. Maybe you do 2 for 50 where the first year is like 26 million, the second year is 23 million or something like that, you know? James Minkin, is there a stretch 5 available? Not any good ones. Maybe in the draft. Alan Berman. Hi, Alan. Harrison Barnes, anyone? Bueller? I like Harrison Barnes. I just don't know about his fit on this team. Manny. Manny always asks some interesting questions. Does Kawhi make us a title contender? Yeah. Sure. Why the fuck not? Yeah. Yes, he does. Taj is a stretch 5. Great comment. Porzingis is available. I'll bet he is, baby. James Argalagos, RJ, and the 21 and 23 first rounders for Fox. Don't ask me that question. Don't ask me that question. I don't want to answer that question. I plead the fifth. Just draft Springer from Tennessee. Why not both? Why not sign Kyle Lowry and we draft Jalen Springer? By the way, everybody, shameless plug. Check out tomorrow's Knicks Film School podcast. I have one of the best in the business. I'm not going to spoil who it is. Coming on to talk draft. We get into Jalen Springer. We get into a ton of guys. But good draft pod. All right, I'm going to take a couple more and I'm going to get out of here before the 40-minute mark because I need to go write something. Is Taj Gibson the greatest shooter of all time? Yes. Is RJ's floor Harrison Barnes? That's a great question. I think his floor is probably a tad lower because Barnes was the 4th best player on a title team, right? They had Iggy, they had Steph, Iggy, Clay. All right, he was the 5th best player on a title team. No, it's not SK Perlman. If RJ, can I sit here right now and say that RJ Barrett's floor is as the 5th best player on a title team? Is that his floor? Might not be his floor. I think that's his 15th percentile outcome. But I think Harrison Barnes is a damn good player. He's a guy that gets paid $20 million a year and he's a tradable contract. He's good. Is RJ's ceiling, comment from Jonas Plout, a DeRozan-esque type? I think his ceiling is higher than that. I think his ceiling is higher than DeRozan. And I realize that I've been hard on RJ in the past, and DeRozan might be a Hall of Famer. I think he probably is. And I think RJ's ceiling is higher than that. I really do. I think he could be a better version of DeRozan if everything comes together. But we're talking like 95th percentile outcome, maybe higher. Karim Assur, apparently RJ is shooting 43% from three in his last 21 games. Is it sustainable? Hell yes. Go back even further. If you look at RJ's shooting percentage from three in the calendar year 2021, so basically after those first 5 games, which was the 3 for 3 and then the 0 for 21, he's a 30 after tonight. He's above 37%. So, yeah, I think RJ's shooting from three is legit. Here's the thing you got to focus on with RJ's shooting. He gets a lot of time to load up on these shots. Actually, that's not true. He has had a lot of time to load up on these shots for most of the season. Tonight, though, he had a couple really quick release threes. And one in particular that stands out in my mind was on the near side, closest to us as we're watching the TV. That was a terrible description. My apologies. But that was a really quick release he had. And he went in, and it looked really pretty. And he's gotten really better about setting his feet quickly and getting into that shooting form, which has been really repeatable over and over and over again. So you know what? To hell with anyone who puts a cap on RJ's ceiling as a shooter. No, he's not going to be a movement shooter. But can he be a good, sustainable 37, 38% shooter from three? Absolutely. Why not? He's showing us that. My concerns about him are still around the basket. But anyway. All right, this is the last one. Am I crazy for thinking that Randall hasn't liked Frank since he's been here? Have you seen or heard this yourself? I haven't heard that myself. I just, I think Randall was really frustrated at the beginning of last season, and I think Frank being in the starting point guard at that time was, that he was not like it just wasn't working. It's not on Frank. It's not on Randall. It's not on anybody. It wasn't working. I don't think Randall has any specific frustrations with Frank. Maybe he does, and I just haven't. I don't know. But I have not heard anything to that effect. So, okay. This was fun. This was a lot of fun. I really man. It's so nice to have a win like this every now and then, where so much good shit happens. And the Knicks, the New York Knickerbockers, are 16-17, tied for 5th in the East, and they play a team on Saturday night that if they beat, they might be 4th in the East. It's wild. Just wild and crazy stuff. I'm loving every minute of it. I hope you are too. Thank you, everybody, for checking this out. Hit the thumbs up if you can. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And don't forget, check out the podcast tomorrow. It was a lot of fun, and you're going to enjoy it. I won't jinx it. I'm not going to say anything else. I won't jinx it. And I'll see everybody on Saturday, unless my wife decides to give birth, in which case I will not see you. Or maybe I will, because I'll have my laptop. So anyway, I'll see everybody soon. Enjoy the weekend.